All right, all right. If I recall correctly, this is the sixth episode of Poly Rambles, and this is gonna be a fun one and probably a short one. I'm trying to like be more comfortable when I do these, so like instead of being like all extreme about it and trying to sound all super professional, like I still want to sound professional and well done, but I also want to just be more laid back and just have a good time with these because like at the end of the day these are just me rambling, and it's supposed to be conversational, so people who do listen, if you want, you can reach out, you can talk about these things more, and then or as you're listening you can just feel like you're having a conversation with me and you're just listening to my side of the conversation. For now, I think that's really good, and that's probably what I'm gonna try to keep doing. um but yeah, anyway, um this episode is gonna be on the 5 levels of relationships, my 5 levels of relationships, and how that has helped me with my mental health journey so far, and with therapy, and just my growth overall. And I'm just gonna break it down a little bit because I think it'll be something interesting to break down. It's something that I've thought about a lot, and I think about a lot, and I think it has really helped me um, subconsciously. So I kind of want to get it out there and be more direct about it. So if you didn't know already, my favorite number is 5. So I have created a level of friendships, like a level or a list of friendships from 1 to 5. That's basically how it's gonna work. So yeah, that's perfect. It's ideal. Obviously, I want to say before I get into talking about it specifically, I want to make it very clear that um, basically, you can make your own level of relationships, friendships, whatever the hell you want to do. Doesn't have to be 5 levels. It can be more levels. It can be less levels. It doesn't really make a difference. At the end of the day, you know, it's a personal thing. So you may benefit from how I organize mine, but I think it's really good to kind of make your own and decide for yourself how you're going to approach the relationships in your life. I don't think there's any one way that anyone should or should not approach it. I would say maybe should not. You probably shouldn't have like, less than like 4 at the very least. I don't know. Maybe you can make that work. I don't know. I don't want to make a claim that mine is the only way. So you might have your own way of breaking it down, and that's totally okay. But basically, I want to break down this list or scale and explain like what each level means to me and how it has helped me improve my mental health over the years, especially recently. So I'm gonna give a little background first. So I'm 28 now. I'm really about to turn 29 in April. That's crazy to me. Um, wow. But yeah, I'm 28 now, and I think it was back when I was 21 years old. That's when I started going to therapy for the first time. Um, so my first therapist and I, we didn't connect as much as I had hoped, but she introduced the idea to me that there are levels to relationships. And I think she gave me like this sheet of paper that like had drawings on it and stuff. And it was basically a bunch of circles showing like the different levels of relationships. And, the closer you get, the smaller the circle is. And as I was learning this and looking through this, I realized that, yeah, this is a concept that I definitely struggle with. Um, at the time, I wasn't diagnosed as autistic yet. And eventually, through this therapist, I would meet a psychologist that would eventually diagnose me. But this therapist had a mentality that a diagnosis didn't really matter or wasn't important. The main goal would be to address the problems or the issues that I have. And I respect this mindset, especially now. I understand where it's coming from, but at the time, I disagreed with it heavily. I was self diagnosed for years, and I knew that I needed an actual diagnosis. I knew I needed support, you know, and that's a topic for another Poly Rambles altogether. But I am grateful that she introduced this idea to me because around this time is when I started to really think about it and realize that, wow, I don't think that I really thought this through before. This is not something that just came natural to me. And this is something that I was being taught that did come naturally to other people. Other people just naturally have people fall into these categories and it just flows. And for me, it definitely doesn't work like that. I have to think about a little bit more. Think about it in a little bit more detail. And some of the levels on that sheet confused me. Like I wasn't sure if anybody in my life even fit into some of them or not. And that was really confusing and frustrating for me. Um, so in my mind, I think there was an acquaintance category on there. It's been so long, so I don't actually remember the sheet, but I do remember like my feelings upon looking at it. And I remember that like feeling like most people probably were on the outside circle for me. And this bothered me. I felt like no one really knew and understood me. It always felt as if there was like a barrier between me and others, and I just could never surpass it without conflict arising. So it was very frustrating, and I wanted to find a way to break through. I wanted to find a way to get more people closer to me. That was my main goal with therapy, trying to, you know, feel fulfilled and happy and have friends and people that I can trust in my life, because at that time I didn't really have that. I had a partner, but like I didn't really feel like I had like normal healthy friendships and relationships in my life, and that was something I really wanted. Um and as you may know about me, I am very obsessed with self-improvement. So having more meaningful relationships kind of became like an obsession for me. In my mind, acquaintance relationships were bad or insignificant at the time. I was failing by having a lot of them. Like, I was failing because I had too many acquaintances and nobody really anywhere else in my life. And to me, that was a failure and something I had to fix. And I wanted more than that. I wanted, more meaningful relationships. This is the beginning of those feelings kind of festering in me. So, throughout the years since then, that is what I have tried to find. And I made many mistakes along the way. But in recent years, I feel I've started to make peace with how the relationships in my life play out or have played out. Um, and I created my own lists. And, that's what this is all about. And I feel like my list gives me peace. Whether you create your own or benefit from mine, I hope my breakdown of this list can help you make peace with the relationships in your life too. So I thought it would be interesting to start from level one and then we go up. I was considering going five and then down, but we'll start from level one and then go up. But obviously, well, it might not be obvious. The way I see it is level one is acquaintances. And obviously, that would mean that level five are the closer or the more meaningful relationships. So for me, level one is acquaintances because, you know, you can't really get less connected than that. Acquaintances is basically people that you are aware of, you know them, you interact with them when you need to, but that's about it. Your relationship doesn't go much further than that. You know of each other, you're aware of each other, and that's it. You know, the only other option there is really after that is just a stranger you don't know at all. So, to me, that fits very well as a level one, and I see that as most of the people in my life are going to be acquaintances because that's just the reality of life. You're going to run into a lot of people all the time, and obviously, you can't have deep, meaningful relationships with all of them. So, a lot of people are just going to end up being acquaintances, or maybe you don't want to have relationships with certain people, so they're just going to stay acquaintances with you because that's how you feel comfortable, or you know it's just how life plays out. Um, So level 1 is an important level, but it's necessary and people are always going to be there. So then we can go to level 2, and I like to call level 2 casual friends. And what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is someone or somebody or people that you talk to more often than acquaintances, because obviously you can talk to acquaintances, you might have small talk or whatever the hell people do. You might have some fun with them, you might have a good laugh, but like you're not really gonna change anything you do in your day to do things with an acquaintance. You're not gonna, make sacrifices for an acquaintance. You're not gonna, make decisions and, important life decisions because of an acquaintance. They don't mean that much to you. And that's not to say that they're not important people. That's just to say, when it comes to your relationship, there's not much there. So casual friends would be like a step above that. So you talk to them more often, you're more aware of them, you're more conscious of them, but you don't truly know them. So for most people, this is where a lot of people will also fall into their life. Um, I would say this is where the most people fall into a category. So like I said that with acquaintances, but with acquaintances, like you could probably name acquaintances in your life, and you might not even be able to name names. You might just be aware of who those people are. Obviously, there's a lot of people in the world who you haven't even been acquainted with. And, that's basically what I mean by like there's a lot of people there. But like when you really think about your acquaintances, you probably don't have too many that you can put. Maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe you socialize a lot and you have a whole lot of acquaintances. I don't know. But for me, when it starts coming to casual friends, I can start seeing myself putting way more people into that category in my life. Like just a lot of people who are just on a casual level with me. You know, we know of each other a bit more than just acquaintances, and most people just end up in this level for me. And in my opinion, it takes effort to go beyond this level. So, acquaintances, that takes literally no effort. You don't have to put any effort into those relationships. They're just things that you just go with the flow and they happen as life goes on. But, casual friends, that's some you're probably seeing them more often, you're interacting with them more often, but you don't really know them. You don't really know who they are, or type of people they are, the things they're passionate about, the things they care about in life. You don't really know that type of information. And to me, that is very casual. That's very chillaxed. A lot of people can sit there and you'll be comfortable with that, and they don't have to really know much about your life and your personal life and the things going on that you want to keep to yourself. So, in my opinion, it takes effort to go beyond a casual friendship. You have to actually start being attentive. You have to actually start being proactive. You have to actually start, you know, putting effort into having a stronger relationship. Some people don't want that, but they can stay as casual friends. But other people, if you do want to go further, that's when you can get to level 3, where I just say this is friends. I know this seems confusing, but how I describe level 3, friends, is that, these are people that you care a bit more for. You know more about them. They support your passions, but you don't have to, care or share everything with that person. You share what you need to share. You share the things that matter to you, the things you have in common, the things you enjoy doing together. But that's about it. It doesn't have to go much deeper than that for it to be meaningful to you. There are simply just too many people in the world to be much closer to them than this. But you still care for the people in this category. These people still mean a lot to you. They're people that you call friends, but, you know, they they just won't, they're not going to be going much deeper with you. There's going to be a barrier there, and that's okay. And I would say that you both, or everyone in this category, should mutually respect each other, care for one another, and be supportive. Be a decent friend. Be a decent human in this category. You've definitely put in more effort to know each other than just a casual friendship. It's gone beyond that because effort was put in. Either it's consistency, so you're consistently around this person, or you consistently talk to this person, you hang out in the same places, or whatever it may be that allows you to put in that extra effort. That has built you up to a status where you feel like you're solid friends. And you don't have to know everything about this person. You don't have to care about every aspect of their lives. They don't have to share everything with you. You don't have to share everything with them, but you still care about each other and you generally want the best for them. To me, that is just friendship. This is basic friends. So then we get to level 4, and I think level 4 is where things start getting more interesting for me. So I call this close friends. I know, right? So creative. But, there are people that you talk to often, or depending on the person, you don't have to talk often, but you know a lot about each other. So you can talk about anything. It isn't a problem to talk about sensitive things or certain things that you would usually keep private from other friends and other people in your life. I see this level as almost like platonic love, but some people don't really like that term, and that's fair. Or others might see this level as different to them. Whatever number you put this level as, or whatever you want to call it, um, you might not want to call it platonic love, but to me, that's basically kind of the feeling I feel when someone reaches this level with me. So if I put you here, you mean a lot to me, and I value our relationship heavily. The only thing that separates this from a romantic relationship is obviously the romantic factor. But for me, everything else can and should still be there. Obviously, it doesn't have to. Like, not every single factor has to match for someone to be considered this. But I do feel like um, all the other aspects of a relationship um, can be there with a close friend, and you can just not have the romantic part, and that's just you are just close friends. That is just what that is. It's purely platonic, but it's platonic on a level that is much higher than most people, most relationships in your life. So I would start to say level 4 is when things start to narrow down. There's only going to be a handful of people here, or maybe even one or two people here, and that's all right. And I think that that's healthy because, like, you can't give so much of yourself to so many people. Sometimes you have to limit that a little bit. So I feel like with close friends being a little bit less, that's helpful. Because for me, at least, I'm putting a lot of effort into these relationships that are level 4. So for me, only a few people are going to get there. And I would say if I were to think of the people in my life who I fit into this category, some of them I don't talk to all the time, but I still see them as at this level with me because of how long we've known each other, how much we care for each other, how much we've supported each other through different things. You don't have to talk to this person often. There's a lot of people who could say they're close friends, and they life gets in the way, and they got to do things day by day, but they know that they can come to that person and talk to them about literally anything at any time. And that is still a very close friendship, a very close relationship that you're not going to just have with everybody. So I feel like this level kind of allows you to explore the idea of what makes someone romantic versus someone close, just being close to you. Like, what does that mean for you? How would you define that? For me, I would define that as someone that I can talk to about anything, people that I feel safe with, people that I trust very heavily, people that I know will be there to support me when I need them. Um, but there's no romantic aspect in that relationship. Everything is very strong, but the romantic part is just not a factor. And to me, that's okay. That's normal. And that's something that I'm comfortable with, but only with a few people. And that's basically how it is for me. So if you're kind of thinking, okay, how would I set these up? Well, you can kind of think to yourself, okay, you know, if if level 4 is something that's not romantic but close, what would that look like for me? Now, level 5, I can see people agreeing or disagreeing with this one, but I see this as partners, lovers, or the closest of friends. I hate the term best friends. I might use it here and there, but best friends implies that there's a best. I just prefer the term close friends or closest of friends, like people who are really close to you, very meaningful relationships. That's how I see level 5. These are the people that are the most important people to me in my life. They're the people that I care about the most in the entire world. Every life decision I make includes them. We know each other really well and strive to always know each other, so we always want to be in each other's lives. We strive to work through conflicts, grow our relationships together. And for me, a partnership means commitment. There's commitment there. I would hope that close friends would be committed to our relationships. But for me, if you're level 5, we are definitely committed. That's almost like a guarantee for this level for me. And, this is a serious level for me, and I need to be far more selective of who I let into this space, because for me, this space is very sensitive for me, and putting the wrong person here can cause irreparable damage and trauma. I see level 5 as my safe space. These are my safe people. These are the people that I can rely on in life. These are the people that I trust with everything. These are the people that I give 120% to every day. That's just not something that you can maintain with like a bunch of people. That's just not realistic to expect of anybody, really. So that's why for me, being polyamorous, partners would be with an S, but no matter how you want to define it, these are just a few people in your life um, that are the closest to you, the most meaningful relationships in your life. And a good point that I wanted to hit on really quickly before I go into how it helped me with my mental health and things like that is that where does family come in? Now, I think this is really interesting. Um, so for me, some people might be like, okay, where's family fit in? Like, there's no like area where family relationships fit. And for me, how I answer that is that everyone is different. So family can fit anywhere you feel is accurate for them. So in my mind, family doesn't really change anything about the levels. If you're close with your family, you might put them at level 4 or 5. But some people might put their family members at level 3 even. Family doesn't make or break the list. They are just other relationships in your life, and you can value them however you feel is right for you. So like for me, I'm not super close to anyone in my family. I care about them a lot, but I'm not super close to them. I don't feel like they're in level 4 or 5 to me. They still are very important to me, obviously, but they're not. I wouldn't put them at 4 or 5. And some people might be like, that's ridiculous. Family should definitely be 5 or 4 or whatever you want to call it. But I think that's something personal for everyone to decide. I feel like I would definitely put most of my family level 3. Like, they're definitely people that I care about, but we don't know everything about each other. They still support my passions. They support me as a person. We respect each other. We care for each other, but we don't know everything about each other. We don't talk about every single thing we do together, but we're there for each other. We care, and we mean a lot to each other. That is honestly where I see most of my family. And, that can change over the years. Like, that's the other interesting about these levels. Um, Someone can definitely move from level 1 to level 4 really quickly. It really just depends. Someone could stay level 2 the entire time you interact with them. And then, maybe you just stop associating at all. And then, okay, they just drop off and they're not even on your radar anymore. That can happen. Someone can move from, you know, partner to acquaintance, depending on life circumstances. Like you can even say like an ex can do that. Like at one point, like maybe an ex partner was level 5 to you, and then that person just stops being as important in your life, and they drop the levels. They drop down and they're off that list, and it's like, wow, that can happen. People can move around in these levels, and same can be said for family. Like if I feel like I build a closer relationship with my sister or something in the future, which I would love to do, you know, if she moves up to level 4, that's great. I'd be open to that. But I wouldn't put her there now, and that's not a bad thing. I feel like every level is important. Every level is necessary. And recognizing that it's okay to have people all throughout those levels spread out, no matter how you wish to spread it out. 5 levels is just how I like to spread it out. But however you wish to spread it out, having those levels and being okay with the fact that people can be anywhere in there, I think that's what allows you to find peace with your relationships and um, not feel like you're a failure for having one too many in one category. You can still have goals, of course. For me, personally, my goals are to really try and fill, or not fill, but find more people who can fit in level 4 and 5. That's basically what I'm working towards in my life right now. I feel like, acquaintances, that's solid. Casual friends, solid. Friends, just regular friends, level 3, 2, 1. Those are pretty much where most people end up for me. And I'm okay with the people that are in each level and why they're there, and that's okay. I'm happy with that. I'm okay with that. I've made peace with that. But that's also what I wanted to talk about when it comes to mental health, that it took me a long time to make peace with that stuff. Um, so for a long time, I would put a lot of emphasis into the level 4 and 5. I would feel like if I don't have a lot of people there, I don't have any real relationships. Like I don't have relationships that matter. I don't have relationships that have any value whatsoever. And this is a mentality I had for a really long time, honestly. I would say only recently have I started to like kind of adjust that. I would say like one of the toughest things when I first started streaming was, you know, I was a part of a speedrunning community and I was meeting a lot of people, and I really wanted this community experience to be my first opportunity at having close friends, or having closest of friends, however you wanted to find it. And I really wanted to make that, this community attempt, be that my first experience of being able to say, wow, this person is a close friend. This person is definitely level 4 for me. And, I thought I was doing everything I should do. Like, when I was in the community, I was generous. I was kind to people. I felt like I was just being true to myself and being the kind, generous, and caring person that I am naturally. And I was like, doing this and just, going with the flow, I should be able to eventually get close friends. And I thought that that was happening. And then, all this stuff that happened, you can watch various or poly rambles or previous poly rambles to get caught up on all that. That's not the discussion for today. But things can happen and things change. Like there are a lot of people um in speedrunning communities that I thought were like level 4, and I thought they would stay there for years to come. And uh I just learned the hard way that someone can just drop out of that. So many people I thought were either gonna make their way to level 4, or I thought were level 4 in my life, have dropped off to acquaintances, or they're completely off my radar altogether, or they're just casual friends, or uh I would say that most of them have dropped level 2 below and below. Um and like that's something I never expected to happen. Like I was thinking that, hey, I would be in this community for the rest of my life. I'll invest a lot into this community financially, emotionally, everything that I thought I was doing. And I thought I was doing it for the right reasons and for the right people. And then things just change. And I would say that when I first started streaming and joining speedrunning communities, I was thinking to myself that I really want to have more level 4 and 5. I feel like everything else is just pointless. But then when I went through all this, drama and all this, struggling with my mental health and everything, I realized that, there are a lot of people that are level 3, and I've met them from streaming. And I really am proud of those relationships. I'm happy with those relationships. I think that they're beautiful relationships. I think they're meaningful. And I don't think it's fair to, tell myself that because they're level 3 and they're not level 4 or 5, they are meaningless or they're insignificant or they're not as important. I think that is just doing it, injustice to so many people in my life. And when I started thinking of it that way, it made me stop, putting myself down for it. Because, there was someone in the speedrunning community, I would say, I thought that they were getting to like a level 4 with me. And I was like really happy about this. Everything happened, and I feel like I kind of got disconnected from a lot of people. And, they might be a level 3 right now, but, I still really care about this person. I assume that they care about me, but I know I care about them, and they mean a lot to me. We don't talk as much as we used to, and that's normal. I'm not really involved in the speedrunning community that they're in anymore, and they are more heavily involved in that community now since I've left. I respect that. I respect their choices. I respect who they want to be and what they want to do with their lives. But they still mean a lot to me, and uh I used to think that, oh no, this person dropped down, so like now this relationship means nothing. But it's like, no, this relationship is still valuable to me. This relationship still means something. It's just not the way it was before, and that's okay. Things happen in life that, get in the way and ruin, ruin what you thought was going to happen or ruin your expectations. But it doesn't mean that it's bad. It doesn't mean that it's soiled. It doesn't mean that it's all for nothing. And that's what I've been really trying to work on recently. And like I would say this situation really helped me piece that together, because there are just so many people that I felt were close to level 4 or were in level 4 that have dropped to level 3 because of all this stuff that's happened. And I'm realizing that a lot of those people I still respect, and I still care for, and I don't want to see those relationships as meaningless or insignificant just because it's lower on the level for me. And same thing can be said for level 2. There's a lot of people who have been casual friends in these communities, and they have never really moved up for me. Like, we just don't really know each other that much, but we know of each other. You know, I feel like there's a bit of care there. There's a bit of respect. But we just don't know each other like that. And like it's not easy to get to know every single person. It's hard to get to know everybody on a deep fundamental level. And so there's a lot of people who I see as level two, and I'm okay with that as well. Like, I still value those relationships. Those relationships still mean a lot. And acquaintances, that's just going to happen. That's just a part of life. There's always going to be acquaintances in your life, people that you know of, but you don't know much about. And that's it. And you're still respectful and you're courteous. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with levels one, two, and three. And for so long, I used to tell myself that, okay, anybody who falls into these levels, they just don't care about me. They don't like me, or, I'm not good enough for them, and all this ridiculous stuff I would tell myself. And it's just like, now that I'm realizing that the way I was thinking was just so off, was just so flawed and so negative, um, I really just appreciate the people in levels three, two, and one more. I just appreciate them for where they are, and I accept that that's where they are, and that sometimes circumstances can put people there, even if I thought that that would never happen. You know, life isn't something that you can predict. It will just go the way it goes, and you have to learn to adapt and accept the way things are. You can work on the things that you have control over, but you have to eventually learn to just accept the things that you don't have control over. And I'm realizing that when it comes to relationships, where people fall sometimes is not always something I can control. I can try my best to keep people where I want them, but at the end of the day, life is going to ultimately make the decision. And that doesn't mean that I have to see those relationships as any less than others. Obviously, I'm closer to people level 4 and 5, but that doesn't mean that people who are my friends in level 3 don't matter or aren't significant. And it just made me find peace with a lot of that. Like, I'm okay with people being level 3 now and just having it stay that way if that's the way it plays out. And I don't feel like I need to put myself down because of it. I'm happy that I have people who are in that level who I can feel like I can rely on them to stay there. I can rely on them to be there. And there are just some people in my life that I care about. They're just friends, and that's all right. And like with, close friends and partners or closest of friends, however you want to call it, you know, I realize that those levels need to be a lot more selective than they were in the past. So my intensity or obsession with getting people to level 4 and 5, all that meant is that people who didn't belong there were being forced there on my side of things. And then on the other side of things, they might see me as like a level 2, a level 3, or even a level 1, and I'm trying to push them into level 4 and 5 where they just don't fit. And that alone can cause a lot of conflict in relationships where you guys aren't on the same page with what you want from those relationships. So they might see you as level 2 and you're trying to push them into level 4, and it just causes conflict and things to not go as planned because you guys just aren't looking for the same things out of each relationship. And that's kind of why I think it's really important to always ground yourself and come back to the levels, because it's like, okay, maybe this person doesn't want to be more than a casual friend. And if that's the vibe I'm getting from them, I have to accept that and move on and find other people that can maybe go higher. But that doesn't mean that I have to hate that person or that person's garbage or, that relationship means nothing now. No, it's just a casual friendship. Maybe that's where that person feels comfortable keeping us. And I just have to be okay with that. And they can just stay a casual friend. And same thing for any other level. Like, there could be someone who wanted to be close friends, but they just realize they don't have enough time to dedicate to a relationship on that level. So we just drop down to level 3 and we're okay with that. We still care for each other, but we know we're not going to be talking to each other that often, or, we're not going to be sharing as much anymore. But that's okay. You can still care about this said person and they can still mean a lot to you. level 3 isn't irrelevant or doesn't mean that they don't matter or they don't care about you even. So I feel like um learning to be comfortable with the levels that you define for yourself for the relationships in your life, and realizing that it's okay for people to be all over the place or even jump around, even if that is what, is that if that's what life presents. Being okay with that, I think, has really helped me. Um, so instead of, thinking to myself that, oh no, I'm such a failure because like so many people are just level 3, and like I only have like one person level 4, one person level 5, like other people have so many close friends, and it's like the reality of it is, and the weirdest thing that I learned recently that really, I just didn't think about enough is that a lot of people who might have a lot of people they say are close friends, they might not define close friends the way I define it. My level 4 is close friends, and that means a lot. That is like really important relationships to me. But for some other people, they might call close friends people that are just like level 3 for me. And that's something to be really uh cautious about. That's something to be aware of, and realizing that everybody has their own levels that they can define for themselves. Like this is just the way I define it. This is how I section it off. But other people might have their own way of doing it, and it might be completely different from, you know, what you expected. And so there's no point in comparing yourself to other people and their relationships when you don't really know the dynamics of their relationships. And the biggest thing, unfortunately, I hate to mention it, but the biggest thing that really brought this to my attention is the dynamic that my abuser and her neighbor had. Like they were friends, right? They're friends, and I'm pretty sure they're still friends to this day. But the interesting thing about it is that uh, as I got to know both of them, I realized that their friendship is not what I thought it was. I thought it was a close friendship where they knew each other deeply, and they might know each other deeply, but they're definitely not honest with each other. And that was something that caused conflict for me when I tried to associate with them, because I was trying to push these people into level 4, and you know they aren't willing to put the effort into relationships to have a level 4 relationship that I want, but they might call each other close friends. But I can see holes in their relationship that I don't feel comfortable with, and that's what caused a lot of these conflicts. I don't feel comfortable with the way they treat each other, or things that keep from each other, or things like that. And like, I don't know, I just don't feel comfortable with that. And I feel like for me to have close friends, those things have to be addressed. Those things have to be prioritized. We can't just pretend those things aren't there. But for them, that's totally okay with them. They're okay with that relationship. And that was just something that really caught me off guard, because I was just very like, what is that? How is that a close friendship to them? Like, how is that a meaningful friendship to them? But then I had to remind myself that, okay, this is, these are different people. These are people who don't value friendships the way I value them, don't value close friendships the way I value them, don't value online relationships the way I value them. These are people who just see relationships in a different way. They might have their own levels that they analyze or they created for themselves, and they're completely fine with where people are, where people fall already. And we just don't align with how we, you know, organize our levels. And now that I see that for what it is, it's really helped me, feel better about it. It doesn't excuse any of the things that happened, obviously. Like, obviously the things that happened were wrong. You know, there's no excuse for abuse or ableism or, enabling abuse or any of these things, obviously. I got to make that really clear. But it makes sense to me now why they were so nonchalant about the way they were treating me. Because to them, they probably didn't put me high in their list. I was probably someone who would be like an equivalent of level 2 to them when I was trying to put them much higher. And that was something I had to learn the hard way, is that I shouldn't just be putting anybody or pushing people into level 4. That stuff needs to just happen naturally, and it will happen naturally when you find the right people. Um, I feel like recent relationships in my life have just fallen into certain levels because of how those people are and how we work together, how we treat one another, and you know, it's just night and day in comparison to those other relationships that ended up being more toxic. I see them for what they are now. I see that I was trying to get something deeper than they were ever interested in having. And some people are just content with not being on those deeper levels. And, that's something I have to recognize. I have to see that, okay, this person is not vibing with this. This person does not care about this in the way that I do. So I need to not keep putting so much into them in the hopes that they will meet me halfway when they would never go to that level with a person, or especially me. Um, and I don't know, that's helped me find peace with a lot of those behaviors. And I just see them as people who just really see friendships differently, see relationships differently. And like sometimes those differences can be so massive that it can lead to like mistreatment and abuse. And some people can just be completely unaware of what they're doing to others and how they're harming others and stuff like that. And that's something I don't want to ever do myself. So, like, I don't want to tell myself that someone in level 3 is insignificant or doesn't matter or is a failure. No, that's not how I want to see those relationships. I want to see them as valuable. It's just a different level, and it's okay that it's a different level, and I can still treat these people with respect. These people still deserve my respect. They still deserve to be cared for. They still deserve to be happy, but they might not be close friends with me, and that's okay. They might not be partners. They might not be lovers. They might not be closest of friends, but that is okay. Um, I know I was saying that is okay a lot, but like that is basically how this has really impacted my mental health over the years, is just really telling myself that it's okay for people to be at various levels. It's okay for me to define my levels differently in the future. Like maybe I want to make some adjustments. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing has to be the same way forever. And understanding that and making peace with that and being like, okay, these are my 5 levels of relationships, and I'm content with where people fall right now. And yeah, I want to keep working towards finding more people for level 4 and level 5, but I realize that I can't force those levels. Those levels come naturally. People who really fit into those levels will fit into those levels. They will get there eventually. And I just have to let that stuff take its time, let it process, let it develop, instead of trying to push people there because I want to feel like I fit in. I feel like I desperately wanted to fit into any community. So I was hoping that people in this community could be close friends, could be people level 4 and level 5. And I realized that a lot of these people just cannot be on that level with me. They don't care to the same level I do. They're just not on that level, and they might not ever want to be, or they might not care to be. Whatever the reason may be, they're not on that level, and I need to move past that and accept that they might be off my radar entirely, or they might just be casual friends, or they might just be a friend. Whatever it may be, I have to learn to be content with that and accept that for what it is. And, just not make not make a big deal of it, not put myself down because of it, and make myself feel like I'm less for wherever people may fall. And I would say recently I've really come to terms with the fact that there are more people in close friends and, level 4 and 5 for me that I never even realized. Like, there's people that I see as level 4 that for years I would question our relationship and be like, does our relationship really matter? Like, is it really friends? Like, are we really close? And now I just don't question those things. Like, I see us as close friends, but we just don't have to talk all the time. And that's okay. But it's definitely more than a level 3. And I see a lot of the people who support my streams as level 3 people. They're level 3. They're friends to me. They matter a lot to me. I care about them. I respect them. They support my passion by supporting the things I love. But we don't know every single thing about each other, and that's okay. And some people might want to reach out to me more, and then maybe we might reach out to each other more, and we get to level 4. But if they stay level 3, that's totally okay with me. I'm totally okay with a lot of people being level 3 and just being people that that support my streams and support me, and I can call friends. And they might call me friend back, or they might not, but that's where I see them, and I'm okay with that. And you know, not everybody who's a close friend or on level 4 has to be someone I talk to all the time, but I can still put people here who have really meant a lot to me in my life and have really been in my life for a long time, consistently being there for me. I can still put them on this level because I can see this is different than level 3. I can see this as a level of relationship that is different. But obviously, that romantic factor might not be there. So they're definitely not going to be level 5. Or we're not like super, super close. So I'm not going to put them level 5. But I can still really value all the people at level 4 as close friends. Um, so just learning to see every level as valuable or as important or necessary really helps with making peace with it all, and not putting yourself down because of it. I don't know. It just feels like I am content with the relationships in my life for the first time in like years. Obviously, I still want to push myself. I still want to meet more people. I would love to have more close friends and more partners, or more, closest of friends, more friends on level 5, whatever you want to, however you want to define it or word it. I would definitely be happy with it, accomplishing that. But I'm also really happy with where I'm at right now, and that I can easily name people on each level, and I can be really content with the people that are there and happy that they're there. And um, I hope that I can continue working on these relationships and making them stronger, and keep educating myself so that I can have healthier relationships in the future. And I'm just happy that I'm willing to learn and keep improving in that department. And I think that in the future, I'm just going to have even better relationships. And that's all I can hope for other people as well. But I know for a fact for me, being here and, getting to this point where I'm comfortable with these levels and where people fall within them, has given me peace and content. And it just allows me to be happy with the way things are. And that's what matters in life. Just being able to find a way to be happy with the way things are. Be happy with the things you can't change or things you can't control all the time. And I feel like accepting, that there are levels to this. There are levels to relationships has really helped me get to that, that content place. And yeah, that's basically how I would break down my 5 levels of relationships. But yes, like I said in the beginning, I do really feel that it's important to say that anybody can define their levels however they want to define them. They might not even use numbers. They might have like more visual representation of it. However you want to do it or break it down, you can do that in your own way and put people wherever you feel they belong. It's more of a personal thing and a way for you to feel good about the relationships in your life and the way they're going and progressing than it is to tell people, oh, you're just level 3. You don't mean that much. Like, no, it's not about that. It's definitely about it's a personal thing to do, and it really helps you be more content with the relationships in your life and how things are going and just make peace of it. So whether you want to, kind of build off of mine or you want to make your own or you're like, this is ridiculous. Whatever you want to however you want to think about it, that's fine. But for me, it has definitely helped me a lot, and I'm really glad that I put myself in these, you know, these uncomfortable situations that have allowed me to, get to this point where I can define things like this. I can put people in places and I can just be okay with that. And yeah, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for my life experiences, even though they haven't always been enjoyable. I learn a lot from all of them, and I will always be willing to talk about them and use them to help me improve in the future. But yeah, that's gonna be it for episode 6. Stopping just under an hour here, so not bad, not bad. But anyways, we're gonna play the outro, and I'll catch you guys next time.